You're looking good, Michael. Last time I saw you, it seems like you've got a little weight since last I saw you.
Oh, I lost some. I lost a bunch of weight, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know how I'm looking, anymore, right? It's been
Right. You
almost
can't
two
see.
years. Yeah, it's been
No,
almost
you're
two.
looking good, man. I mean, you're looking broader in the shoulders.
Oh, maybe it's maybe it's my posture. Maybe I'm actually sitting the way my grandmother would approve of. I don't know.
Say, man, it's not, you're looking all right.
How have you been? Like, what's going on with your internet and so forth?
Oh God, man. It's a little bit of chaos. It's a little bit of um I don't know. All in all, things are good, but I think I'm in a transition and I don't like that.
Hmm.
I think I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to be a month from now, a year from now.
Hmm.
I just finished a very good project. Um, this thing called Monster. It went very, very well, better than I had hoped for. Um, but I don't know what's next. I'm kind of in a hungry period of
Hmm.
like I just don't know what's next. I don't know what the next show is, the
Yeah.
next thing is.
Are you still what's going on with the art center and all of that?
Well, I'm in this town. The art center got uh the art center was shut down by the city.
Huh.
Um, but then was the building, the physical building. So they shut it down. I was still living in it, and the city bought it. Instead, they could have. I got to give them credit. They could have just like knocked it down, tore it down.
Yeah.
They bought it from me,
Okay.
uh, or twice what I paid for it.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, I'm a real estate genius apparently. But then they shut it down. So it's been about 2 years, and it's interesting how legends grow. It's been 2 years, and I've been trying to get another building. I've been trying to, keep the dream alive. Um, Everyone in town, all my friends and people I don't know, are like, "You're the art guy, right? You're the art man. You're the art." I'm like, "Uh-huh." Like, I loved that place. Man, that was so great. That was so important. Michael, they are lying. They are like people who
Uh,
pretended to be at Woodstock.
yeah.
I'm like, man, we had 4 or 5 shows, maybe 5 shows, maybe. And there were maybe 40 people there. Everybody's like, oh, I used to go to that place all the time.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
if you went to that place all the time, would still be open,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's like, so the art center, the building's gone. But the idea is still, people are very excited about having an art center in this town. And because of my wife, because Nancy is in a nursing home,
Hmm.
um, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't, you
Yeah.
know. So
So part of what this uncertainty that you were talking about earlier, that's part of, where you are right now is does that
right.
involve maybe trying to resurrect the art center in a different venue? Or
Yes, exactly, exactly. Although I'm thinking now, I mean, I should talk to you about Shadowbox. I'm thinking now more and more. I always had a building that was very important to me to have a physical locus for people to come by and do their work in.
Mhm.
But more and more, I'm thinking about the next step that would make me happier is a salon, not a theater, a salon.
The French,
My Yeah. Well,
yeah.
well, to have an apartment or a house or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's a salon. You perform in my living room.
Right. Right.
My kitchen is right there.
Right.
And there's no difference between where I live and where my friends perform art.
I love
Uh,
that.
so, an actual place where it would go from a performance, musical, a theater thing, poetry reading, whatever, but it would just meld into, now we're just talking.
Right. Right.
Now we're just hanging out. You know
I
what I
love,
mean? I really believe that that is the next step, because also then you don't have to worry about licensing. You don't have to worry about the government is not involved,
right.
right? If you and
Right.
I are hanging out in my living room and you did drop $20 to cover the cost of that, whatever, but there's no, it's just we're just hanging out. Ah, think of how much think of how easier that would be
I love that.
than what is the relationship between post productions and Shadowbox? Are you renting the space?
So Post Productions is our theater company, and
Right,
it's a for-profit, and it's an independent regional for-profit. Um,
right.
and the Shadow Box is our venue, which we opened
Your
in
venue.
2018. Well, we're renting this space, but it's the name of the space that we're renting.
Right.
And we renovated it and tore everything out.
Okay.
It was a
I
day
got you.
care. We built the stage. It's actually pretty much the same dimensions and everything as the upper theater at the Royal Court in London.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
black box
But
kind.
isn't it kind of I mean, I had two spaces and I love them, but isn't it kind of a hassle that you have to either rent it out, right?
Yeah,
Or you have to, there's always this overhanging cost of the
yeah.
venue.
Well, that really hit us during the pandemic.
Oh my God.
We
I
almost
can
went
imagine.
bankrupt. Yeah, we almost went
I
bankrupt trying to hold on to it because we couldn't perform, obviously. And it is an
right,
ongoing, like, there are pros and cons, right? So an ongoing con
right.
is, we always have to have something happening. And luckily, since the pandemic, like
Exactly.
year and a half, we've always had something happening, but it
You
means
gotta have some,
time as
yeah,
well. And
yeah,
I would love to just do 3 to 4 productions a year and not have to worry
right.
about all that
And not have
overhead.
to worry about it.
Yeah, but
Ben Sprecher, one of the greatest off-Broadway producers ever, a guy named Ben Sprecher, who I knew for a minute. He had the great he ran a couple theaters. He said a theater is a taxi cab and the meter is always running,
yeah,
whether you have a fare or not. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
you're always having to pay that.
yeah.
So
So one of the big reasons we ended up going that direction, because at first, when Post Productions was created, we performed in, other venues, but there's not a lot in
right,
terms of venues that suit our needs. We don't want
right,
a venue, not only because
right,
of the cost of a big venue, but because of the, you get into a state with a large venue where people are
yep,
just they're just observing,
yep,
they're not in it,
yeah,
and
right,
but
right,
we wanted, a small intimate venue, but the
right,
options were limited and we had no control. So one time we came in, and in between the weekends we were performing, the people at this venue, who were really nice, they're great people, but they had other people who used the space and we weren't in there, right? And so
right.
whoever had been in there in the middle of the week moved all of my lights. Like, all of my lighting was gone. So right before the show,
I've been exactly there, man.
oh my God. And partly it was storage space. So that's those
Yeah,
two concerns. It's basically a matter of control. We wanted more control.
yeah. No,
But
I
the
hear you. I totally hear you. I totally hear you.
price of
It's a matter of
control is literally
control.
a price. It's money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally hear you,
So
man.
I love the
One
salon
one of
idea
the
because that's your space. And I
Yeah,
always loved, like, reading, books from that period and people writing memoirs in that period and so forth. This idea, the salon idea. I always thought there was something very I know, old school romantic about that in the artistic sense.
Precisely,
Yeah.
precisely.
And they
Well,
organic.
it's so funny, man. I just so a week, 4 days ago, 5 days ago, I just left the first production of this show, Monster. Um, it's a collaboration with a director that I've worked with for 1,000 years. And she was so great because she reminded me of this, which I goes back to the salon idea. So we're old pros, we've done a zillion shows, but she was like, you got to remember, it's all about the hang. And
The,
I thought, right, I forgot. The whole point of getting into the theater and continue to work, it's not about the show. It's not about the reviews, it's not about the grants. The reason we're doing this is about the hang, which is being able to hang out with people that you are amazed by.
hmm,
And that's the gypsy life, which
right,
is
right.
you have to do a good job, that's you have to do a good show. You have to be interesting, or else you're not invited to the hang. But the whole
Right.
point of it, the whole point of it is afterwards in the bar, backstage, where you can tell the funny fucking stories, you know? And
Yeah.
if you're good at the hang, then you get invited back to the job, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's truth to that. It's that
Isn't it? Isn't
bohemian
it?
kind of spirit too, right? And
Oh,
and
100%, 1,000%.
yeah.
It's like,
And one of the things I love about that is the organicism of moving from, the hang, as you say, and the conversations with people and just hearing about
yep,
all these interesting ideas and projects and
yep,
things people are
right.
and
Yep,
all of that. And then you move into a performance and then it moves back into a discussion and people conversing.
exactly.
I love
Exactly.
that
And
idea.
it's so hilarious. And the audience never knows how much of the real conversation is happening backstage. It's happening
Yeah.
off stage. It's like that's the well, I mean, you know, I'm trying to steer this to the topic at hand, but that's so interesting about the event. And so somehow you and I got together with Fat Boy, right? And that worked. It was successful
Yeah.
for you. And then you were like, you got anything else? I was like, sure. I sent you the event. Um, and beautifully, almost a year, I don't know, a lot of time goes by because you got your desk stacked.
3.5 years.
But then was it that long?
Yeah.
But then you and Faye are I guess we got to read John's thing. But as soon as you read it, right? As soon as you read it, I think I'm putting. You tell me. I'm about to say something, and you correct it. You
Okay.
read it, and you're like, "Oh, Christ, this is hilarious. This is great." But in a sense, you went back to the hang. You and I kind of know each other, right? And you're like, "Yeah, it's a good play. We should do it." But also, this is going to be so much fun because Clancy is talking to me. Clancy is messing with it. Correct all that, but is that kind of what happened? Is
Yeah.
that
I
is
mean,
that
there,
anywhere at all?
yeah, there's definitely the social aspect to that, right? Because I mean, we've communicated with many, many playwrights over the years and in various means and so forth. And there are, only a couple that we've sort of maintained contact with because
Right.
in a way, the social element is important. Like we want,
Yeah.
you want to talk to those people. You want to
Yeah.
communicate. So there's something
Yeah.
interesting about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what you mentioned too about the hang and also this idea of the salon, and I'm gonna help. We're gonna bring it in, and the event.
Right.
is that, and by the way, you were absolutely right. In fact, I wrote to you as soon as we finished reading the event. Like we wasted no time in writing to you as soon as we read it. Um, is
I
that
could tell. I could totally tell. And, but also, let me say this real quickly. My
sure?
friend Greg Codis, um, Urinetown, wrote
Oh,
East Nation.
yes. Yeah, yeah.
Brilliant writer. Brilliant writer. We've been friends for 30 years. And he said to me, it's so funny. He said, here's the thing in the business. I was bitching about something about I'd sent a play to somebody, I hadn't heard from them in 5 months. Greg said, John, that's a no.
Hmm.
It's very clear in the business. If somebody doesn't get back to you in a week, that's a no. Yeses are immediate. Yeah, and I realized because I used to be behind the desk looking at scripts, and it's
Right.
exactly right. You finish it, and you call the guy up. Hey, I want to do this. The no is,
Well, that's one of my anxieties is that it sometimes takes me so long to get to the point of reading it. I worry, oh no, they already think I hate it, right? When I
exactly,
finally get back to them, and then it's like, no, no, we
exactly.
just read it now. But
Yeah,
what reminds me of the salon and the hang and all of this is the idea in and this is going to be a spoiler for people who haven't seen it yet, in the event that we find our meaning, we find our purpose, and we avoid that life of grief by
yeah,
through connection, right? And even though connections are, as you say in the script, rare, they can be
right,
powerful enough that they keep us going. And that's really what it is, right? And the salon is a
right.
way to try to almost create a connection engine, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Where that's more, in a way, that's more important than whatever the message, it's not like that's what I kind of love about the event is it's not saying anything really, anything, but it's about we're here together,
Mhm.
right? It's like it's not, well, you tell me. I mean, you've been working with it, and I love your weird twist on it, the way you're doing it. But I don't think the show is really saying anything of great import, except for we're here. We're here together for this time, for this very brief hour. I don't know how long your show goes on,
About an hour.
but that's it. Yeah.
Well,
But there's no, I would defy anyone to say there's a message. Right.
I'm of two minds about it. I'm of two minds. I think you're right. In that, it's not well, I mean, this is relative to the perspective of the person saying it. It's not
Sure.
pretentious. It's not reaching, for more than it can grasp in that,
Right.
but it also is not pedestrian. It's a profound script, and its profundity, I think, for me, is in
Mm.
the boldness of speaking out loud the things that we aren't supposed to speak out loud.
Right. Right.
It's the
I
boldness
hear you.
of pointing attention to the things that we all recognize as soon as they're
You're
pointed.
right.
And maybe because of that, we think, well, that's no big deal, except that we were ignoring it until it was pointed out,
Yes. No, that's a
right?
good point.
And
No,
then
no, no.
and,
Yeah.
and then coming to that central message, that really key moment to me where the man talks about connection, and we have
Yeah.
these moments of clarity and calm and all of
Right.
that.
Right.
That is
That's
really,
my favorite. That's my
yeah,
favorite part.
yeah,
That's
mine
my
too.
favorite part.
And
Where
it's
he talks about the untangling the knot.
yes, yeah,
You
and
know,
that's what brings
that's
it
my
all.
favorite part. Yeah.
That's what makes it profound is because
Yeah.
it's not the fact that we necessarily find meaning and purpose through connection. I mean, that is profound, but it's not that in itself. It's that
Right.
connected to everything else that's happened during the event, which is
Right.
the things that connect us are the things that we often overlook or we don't talk about.
We don't
Or
talk about it. We don't exist.
yeah,
Yeah. It's. I've been doing some reading, so a lot of Buddhist reading in the last, like, I don't know, year or so.
mhm,
And it's interesting, uh there's a concept of emptiness
Mm.
So, which sounds like a negative thing, obviously, emptiness. Um, but it's real important in the Buddhist tradition to concentrate on
Yeah.
emptiness, which again you think is going to be, well, there's nothing there. So what the fuck?
Yeah.
But the the idea is, or the impulse or whatever, and I think this has a lot to do with, I didn't mean to write about it, but the more you take away, and that's what the event does, right? From the beginning, he's like, this isn't going to happen, and that's not going to happen, and all your illusions, all your ideas of how this is going to be a fun evening of theater, gone. I'm killing them all. And you're like, well, then what the fuck are we doing here? The more you concentrate on that emptiness, beautifully, the more things begin to
Mm.
pop up, the more well, I guess we have to talk about the real things.
Yes. Yeah.
If we're not going to just chatter, Jesus. And then it does. I don't know how that play works. I swear to God, this is totally honest. Writer, writer being honest, I have no idea how this thing works. Um, honestly, I wrote it. Usually I write 4 drafts of a play before I give it to anybody. This
Okay.
was one. This was one.
Really?
I gave it to somebody, yeah, first draft. I mean,
Wow.
blah blah blah, just word bit by bit.
I would
I
not
gave
have
it to
expected
one
that.
guy, and he gave me a really good critique, and I rewrote like 2 sections, and it's out there in the world. I don't know where this thing came from. I really honestly don't know where this thing came from.
Channeling something.
Some,
Well,
well,
maybe,
sometimes you're, as a writer, a lot of writers will say this. Sometimes that happens. You really do feel like you're dictating.
yeah. Yeah.
Usually not. Usually it's torturous, but sometimes like, well, that's what I'm supposed to write.
Maybe you found yourself, even if you didn't know it, in that kind of place of emptiness, right? Which in the Buddhist perspective is an openness, right? That
Right.
empty openness because you're not filling it, right? That's not being filled with all the crap that fills our minds, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now you
Exactly.
wrote this 2007, 2008, right? Around that time?
2008 was it done.
Yeah.
I'm
And
waving it to me.
what what led to it? Like what space were you in? What were you
I
doing?
hated, I had just come back from the Edinburgh Festival. And I'd seen so many stupid one-person shows. And so it really was ill will. I hated, I want, here was, I'll tell you the truth. My desire was, and my hubris was, I thought, let me kill one-person shows. So if anybody sees the event, they will never, ever go to another one-person show.
That
Because they'll
explains
be
the
like,
first 14 pages or so.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was just this ill will. And but as soon as I started writing it, so it was like, here I am, and I have no backstory. I'm not Charles Lindbergh. I'm not you know, Charlie Chaplin. Nothing. I thought, and I never thought it was a real play. I thought, by the 12th, 13th page, I thought this is gonna end. How is this gonna end? But yeah, it was out of malice, basic malice. Yeah. Now what?
What
I'm gonna
inspired
flip
this
it on you,
challenge?
Michael. I've done this before, but I'm gonna flip it on you. What was it that when you heard? I assume Faye read the play to you.
Yes.
So what moment was it for you? We were like, oh, this is worth doing.
I think we were about 2 pages in. And
Wow.
we talked about it afterwards, and we both had the same thoughts basically, but we weren't communicating them to each other because I was busy listening to her read this. and
Right.
started to get really antsy. Like my legs were and I was just I couldn't sit still. I was getting very, very
Right. Exactly.
I
Like,
had
oh
so
no.
many, yeah, I just had so many ideas in my head, really enthusiastic, and I really wanted to do, and it got worse as it went on. My antsy was worse, and I wanted to stop her, but I'm like,
No,
I don't want to stop. And then when
no,
it finished, it was right away, like on the second page, I knew, okay, I think this is something that we want to produce. I don't know when, or where, how.
mm.
But by the time we got to, let me think. What part is it?
Is it the dropout when he's like, hey, the author's given me
Oh
20 seconds.
no, it's after that. It's that we believe that we're more important to others. That part. We overestimate
Oh
our
yes,
importance to others.
yes.
That was
That's the
where
shift.
it really clicked in hard for me. And I thought, okay, it has to be produced. We have to do it. And then once you got to the connection, it
You're
seemed
right.
to me that there was
Right.
this beautiful thematic resonance to 448
Yeah.
psychosis, which I know
Yeah.
some people aren't
Which
seeing,
is
some people
so
are. Um, in terms of our audience, some people get it and some people don't
right.
see it.
Right. No,
And there are some
that
people who enjoy the event just as pure entertainment and aren't really thinking about what it's saying. And that's
right.
fine, right? But exactly what the man in the event says about connection and the
Right.
attitude that he
Right.
takes towards connection, um,
Right.
what it's exactly what Sarah Kane couldn't find. And
Exactly.
448 Psychosis goes into tremendous detail about this without ever saying it. She never
Right.
she never
No,
says it
she never
loud.
states it.
Yeah, but that's what it's about.
But
An
oh
inability
my,
to connect with.
exactly what it's about. No,
Yeah.
that connection that you made um is very humbling to me because uh Sarah Kane is a I don't know she is one of the writers that I look up to.
Me
I'm
too.
very sad,
Oh, I think what
what happened to
she
her,
have
but
created? What could she have created if she'd lived until now,
oh
right?
my
What?
God.
Yeah.
But what she did create, what
Oh,
she
yeah.
did
In a short
create
period of time. Was it four?
was so is so fucking powerful and crave. Um,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
no, I mean her work is. I actually got to there was a dance piece. Um, my friend, my colleague Melanie Stewart, who directed the last show, Monster, she had a piece based on 448,
Oh, really?
based on 448 psychosis. Yeah, it was a dance piece, and it was called The Simple Fact of Pain. The Simple Fact of Pain. And she said, I'm going to do this thing. And she asked me to write it, add text to it. It was a
Oh,
dance piece. So like the text, the writing of it was exactly as important as the lighting
yeah.
or the sound or it was a dance piece. But it was based on 448 psychosis. And I was like, oh, fuck. I
Oh,
don't know that I have the
oh, you're breaking up.
sorry, man. I
Oh,
didn't know that I had the balls of Sarah Kane,
right.
the courage.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's
how's the whole, I mean, what's happening? Are people walking out going, what the hell?
Yeah,
Or
I mean they are, and we've the diversity of the responses has been really cool, right? Because
cool,
um I don't I'm not interested in mainstream entertainment. I don't want a broad audience.
right?
I want to be able to pay the bills, but I'm not 2.5 men. I don't want that shit. I don't want to write
Right,
something with the lowest common denominator or produce something
right,
denominator. And so I do take it as a badge of honor how many walkouts we get and so forth. It is important to me that people walk out because that to me is evidence that we've created something particular audience.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Oh,
No,
yeah.
you want to try to advertise as honestly as possible so people are making a selection, oh, that seems like something I would be interested in, right? But
Right.
we actually haven't had, okay, so we've had 3 walkouts so far. 2 of them
Okay.
were people who the guy fell asleep and we could all hear him snoring. And then so once he woke up, his wife just let him out. Um, okay, that's fine. Maybe he had a long day, whatever. And then another one was this bizarre. It's this woman who came in with this giant bag of potato chips that she brought with herself, and she's not supposed to, but front of house was like, yeah, we're gonna leave it alone. We're not gonna bother
Right.
her. She sat sort of in the back, front of the tech booth, eating her bag of chips very noisily for the first 15, 20 minutes of the event. And then when she was done her chips, she stood up and she left. I don't know. She paid to be there. I guess she just needed a place to sit down and have her snack. I don't know
Place
what's
it
going
down, eat her potato chips.
on. But the responses have been excellent. And, they've been very different responses to both plays. And there are a lot
Right.
of people who really loved the event who, you know, it's hard to say you love 448 Psychosis. If you think about
Right.
entertainment in that popular sense, right?
Right.
But
Right. Right.
um, but I think of entertainment in I'm old school. I'm a philosopher, right? So my ideas are a little older and to entertain something is to hold it present in your consciousness.
Right.
That's what it means for
Oh,
something
right.
entertaining. It occupies your consciousness
Exactly.
for a period
Exactly.
of time.
Exactly.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly what I want, right? I don't want
Well,
something
exactly.
that's
No,
gonna wash over me. Yeah.
Bill
So
Hicks,
in that sense,
the great
people have
the
definitely
great comedian Bill Hicks said at one point when some interviewer asked him, why do you keep asking all these questions? You're a comedian. Aren't you supposed to entertain? And Hicks said, when did thinking become not entertainment?
yeah,
Thinking is
yeah,
what we're trying to do. You know,
exactly. Exactly.
you
Yeah.
can get the joke, you can land the joke, you can land the thing, but I
Yeah.
want you to be thinking. I want you to be, yeah.
Yeah, actually, not to be glib, but I think there's a quote, and I think it might also be from Bill Hicks, where he's talking about this idea that you go to, something like theater or a movie, so that you can turn your brain off for a while. And he's like, why would you want to
Right,
turn your brain off? Why not shoot
right,
yourself in the fucking head?
precisely. Turn your brain off.
That's what, yeah. But yeah, people,
Yeah, but
people,
and I get that. I get that. I'm tired. I work all day, I
sure,
like to turn my brain off in that sense, but that's
man.
not what I'm going for.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. If I'm sort of just sinking into a couch and I'm exhausted and I don't want to move, that's one thing. If I'm actually
right.
making the effort to leave my house and go somewhere, then I want to be fully engaged. And that includes the
Well,
brain.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Confuse me,
Yes,
amuse me,
yes.
make me find the new thought,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
I
But
love coming out of a work of art.
but now do you think you've worked on it? I haven't done the event in a long time. I directed the original production, couple of the original productions, but I haven't been in it for a long time. Um, do you think that it is trying to turn the brain on in the actual physical audience sitting there, having to go through this experience with the guy?
Hmm.
Do you think it's uh turning on or calming? I mean that I didn't say that exactly right, but I'm also interested in how you did it, which was with the offstage voice, which is
Yeah,
you. Are
yeah.
you
It is
narrating?
me. It is an uncredited me. And what's the first weekend we had several people who swore that the Heath was performing along to a pre-recorded track, but no, I'm dressed in black with a mask over my
You're
face.
doing it. You're doing it.
Yeah, I'm sitting actually just a couple of feet away from the technician in the dark corner where nobody can see me with a
But
mic.
wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, Michael, you're blind.
Yeah, yeah. So
So
I
how are you doing
recognize
it?
it. It was
How do you know the lines?
a lot of work. I still perform, like I still act
You
occasionally.
memorized it?
Yeah, I have to memorize before.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
and
You memorized
I've done a bunch
memorized the script.
since this blindness started, and usually what happens is I have to start working on it well before the rest of the cast because by first rehearsal,
Right.
be off book. I can't be on book, right?
No, of course.
With this one, we didn't have enough lead time for that, so we just worked on it in segments, so that I didn't have to try to get
That's
completely off.
crazy, man.
Yeah,
You memorize this.
yeah, yeah. So it was a big thing. It was hard. It was difficult, but well worth it. And so
I cannot fucking imagine.
and so the way it works is,
Because you can't call for line.
no. I mean, I have a list of cues because there are certain transitions that I sometimes forget, and every so often I'll tap the technician. He'll say three words, the first three words of the transition. God, I'm
It's
like,
a
oh
hard,
God.
it's a
Yeah,
very hard script.
it is.
I actually memorized. I wanted, weirdly, like 2 years ago, I thought, oh, I'm going to do the event. This would be crazy. I'll do it.
Yeah,
And I tried to memorize, and I did memorize it, but fuck, it's hard.
it's really hard. It's really hard.
There's no usual handholds.
Yeah,
Oh, now we're going here because
yeah,
it's also there's all those built-in. Now I've lost them. Oh, I don't know my lines.
yeah,
Oh, they're built in.
yeah.
So sometimes when you get there, you're like, is this real? It's a bitch, man. It's
Yeah,
a motherfucker. It's a motherfucker to
it is.
memorize.
It's really difficult. One of the hardest that I've ever had to learn. And I'll
The hard.
tell you more about the approach we're taking because we never really got to explain the whole thing to you. But so
No,
basically,
but I love the whole idea you did. This is what I tell people. It's a nature video about a bear, and then 5 minutes in, the bear turns to the camera and says, "What the fuck?"
kind of,
That
yeah,
was
that was the
I
original
love that.
sort of idea in my head, that's what I had in my
Love
head
it.
by the second page. By the second page, I was seeing the man through a camera lens and seeing like Werner Herzog or somebody standing behind
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
and narrating what he's filming, and then the bear or raccoon or whatever it is turns around and is like, dude, what?
Yeah.
Right?
Hilarious. Fucking hilarious. You know.
And the way it's
And but then it goes on for 40 minutes, you
yeah.
know. So
Well,
the raccoon or the bear or whatever is like, I know. And he's looking at you going like, can we? Oh, it's so funny, man.
yeah, and this so it
So,
forces a
is it
self
funny?
it
Is the show funny?
it
Yours?
is. And you know what's been really interesting is the way it's evolved. It's now the man starts out as somebody he's prepared for this show, he's going to do this show. He comes out
Mhm.
and right away he's being screwed with by this voice that he can't place. And he's not even sure at first if the audience can hear it. And and he doesn't know what it is. And you know, in my brain, it's like, yeah, it's sort of this documentary thing, but it's like his
That's funny.
conscious or it's his
Yeah,
subconscious. And I've
fun.
decided it is that, but it's also the playwright in his head messing with him.
Right.
The playwright himself is messing with him.
Yeah.
And so he starts to overcompensate. And this is why I wanted somebody with a really good knack for physical comedy,
Right.
with
Right.
a clowning background, that kind of thing.
That's
And
good.
he's great
That's
at it.
good.
And so he's overcompensating, he's overacting to try to draw the audience's attention back. And the way divided up
Right.
lines is that basically anything negative or anything that brings the mood down is said by this unseen voice. And then
Right.
the man has to try to take control before the
Right.
audience is completely turned off
Exactly.
by this
Because
negative.
he's in front of the audience. No, exactly. Yeah.
And so he's
No,
repeating his
the
self-confidence.
one thing, the best. Oh, go ahead, Bev.
Oh, I was just going to say his self-confidence is
Well,
destroyed immediately. And then the rest of the event is him gradually gaining more control over the piece and gaining more confidence. And as he does that, his acting becomes less overacted and less and more naturalistic as he gains confidence and he gains control. And by the end, and halfway through, they're working together more than working against each other. And by the end, the man on stage
Wow.
has the bulk of the control, and he and the voice are on the same side. That's how it's worked out.
Lovely.
And so there's a so this
That's lovely.
narrative built into it. It's really cool. I like it.
Yeah,
I'd
that's
love for
lovely,
people
man.
to see
That's
it.
lovely.
Yeah,
No,
so
my whole, I was going to say, I think we're breaking up. My whole thing is what I realized was, um, as the piece goes on, as the man is standing in front of us, I just felt more as the writer, more and more empathy
yeah, yeah,
for him. And um so it's kind of earned at the end that he's just reaching out.
yeah,
He's not giving us anything, but
yeah.
he's reaching out and he's like, aren't we all just thrown? I'll get a little heavy with you. I knew we were talking tonight, so I thought about it a little bit. Um, and it's Martin Heidegger,
Hmm.
famed Nazi, but
Yep.
also quite a good philosopher. Heidegger talks about the experience of being thrown
Mm-hmm.
into the world,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
not brought into the world, not raised in the world, but this weird feeling of I have no idea where I was from, but now I'm here. Now I have to deal with this world.
Yeah,
And I think it's a very, very truthful and brilliant insight.
yeah,
Nazi or not, that's a pretty smart thought.
yeah,
That's what it feels like. You're thrown
yeah,
into the world, and that's the man. The
yeah,
man, the man kind of is. He's also kind of like it's a job. Here I am. What the fuck? I got nothing. But that's the experience I think that the actor has to have is like, hey man, here I am. Now I have to talk for 60 minutes or so. Talk, you know, the empathy the audience should feel is exactly that. It's like that's weird though that 2 pages in, you guys got that because I've seen a lot of productions of it. And sometimes it takes until he breaks and says, I don't want to do this. This is a bunch of bullshit.
yeah,
The bit I'm talking about.
yeah, yeah,
That's usually when the audience gets on his side.
yeah. Well, and I think one of the one of the things I really loved about it is, it starts off, as the man points out when he has his 17 seconds to address the audience, right? It starts out
Yeah.
as hearty meta commentary on acting and theater, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
audience begins to understand that that's just another way of talking about what it is to be a human performing in society, performing the
Right.
various roles that are expected of us. And this idea
Right.
brought up from Heidegger of being thrown into the world. Like for me, that experience was what it was like to find yourself in the world as an adult for the first time.
Right.
When you leave school, you leave your home, you're in the world as an adult.
Exactly.
You have no idea what's going on, and you
No
don't
idea.
expect
No
it.
idea.
You're
Right.
ad-libbing everything, right? And then you think, okay, I'm going to master this. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to figure this
Yeah.
out. But then as
Right.
you get
Right.
older, you realize, no, that's just actually all of it. That's how the entire life goes.
That's exactly. Exactly. When you realize, oh my God, everyone is acting.
Yeah. And we're all
All of my authority figures
script. Yeah.
are just performing. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I had the experience of I was a college professor. I was a teacher. And I realized, in the middle of a class, it was like, fuck, I looked up to these professors because I thought they knew what they were talking about. And
Yep.
here I am, just
Yep.
babbling. It's all, everyone is pretending, everyone is acting.
Those
And
moments, those moments of self-awareness are discombobulating, right? And a little bit scary at times.
they're scary. They're
Why a lot of
scary.
people avoid having them. We have all of these things that we do to prevent ourselves from having those moments of self-awareness. And
Absolutely.
and the event takes them away from us, which is, I think, an
Right.
uncomfortable experience for the audience, but it's done in such an enjoyable way. They come away
Right.
feeling grateful for it rather than
It's very liberating,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, when the curtain's pulled and you're like, we're all just bullshitting each other. I
yeah,
can't remember the exact place in the script, but there is a place in the script where it's like, ev don't worry because everybody is lying. Everybody is bullshitting, but we're getting away with it. It's
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I think it's like three-quarters in when the man starts breaking down, um, what are we doing? The creator, God, the playwright,
the
director,
old idea of the creator God, the great playwright.
that's all obviously done stupid. Um, the idea of our ancestors watching us,
Yeah,
actors watch, that's done.
yeah,
But that sense of like, so maybe it's just a rehearsal where we're
rehearsal.
just making everything up,
Yeah, and that we're playing for each other, right? That we're
which is so beautiful. Maybe we're just playing for each other.
and that I think for some people, depending on where people are, we're in their lives or psychologically,
Right.
existentially, whatever. For some people, that's a scary thought, but I think it's very beautiful. The idea
Isn't
that
it beautiful?
we're for each other.
Again, going back to the Buddhist emptiness, we're just playing for each other, which means on one side it would mean so it doesn't matter, but on the other side it means that's all that matters. We're just playing for each other, and I'll
Yeah,
play for you, you play for me. We don't need an audience.
it's
We
extra
don't need
responsibility, right? Now that we know this, it's like if this is true and we've become aware of it, now
right.
suddenly we're faced with an additional responsibility. Let's put on a good show.
Absolutely.
Let's make sure everyone has a good time, right?
Exactly. Let's make
Yeah.
sure everyone has a good time and there's no critic, there's no judgment. Let's make sure everybody has a good time. That means we're taking care of each other.
Yes. Yeah.
And what is better than that? What is more perfect and beautiful than that? My
Yeah.
God. Because that means I'm going to take care of you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's a responsibility we recognize to each other, right? It's not on any one
Exactly.
person's shoulders. It's something we all share. So let's take that
Yep.
seriously. Yeah. And
Let's take that seriously. Let's take
what a
that seriously.
change that is, right? What a fundamental change that would be to the world if we all thought
And
that way.
again, yeah, again, it
Yeah.
does go back to that simple connection.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is a beautiful thing. And it's I think the pairing of that with psychosis, I wanted the event to come before psychosis too, because
Right,
I
right,
think that having gone through the event, people are left in a more open and empathetic space. Right.
right,
I think that, at the end of the event, you come out of it with exactly what we're talking about, thinking about this idea of connection, thinking about what we
right.
for ourselves and others. And then we watch someone who
And then,
was
yeah,
desperately trying to communicate
yeah,
means or what it feels like to never find connection with anything.
right.
And
Yeah, exactly. And
for kids to
strongly
understand.
argue.
Yeah,
I love 448 is incredible to me, but to simply not argue, well, argue in the sense of a legal term, but simply to state, this is why I am out.
yeah,
And I'm not, this is not a cry for help. This
Yeah.
is not
And I'm not,
a
and also she's not asking us to accept it. What she just wants us to
at
do
all,
is
at
understand
all.
her
She's
perspective.
just saying, this is where I'm going.
Yeah.
This is how much it hurts.
Yeah.
And so this is what I'm doing.
And she
And
goes,
I am going to tell you,
yeah,
I mean, it is a suicide note,
it
but
is.
it's not I don't know. It's kind of,
It is a
you
suicide
can't
note, but it's not a suicide note in that dismissive way that some people have
at
taken
all.
toward it.
Exactly. It's a
It's
suicide note that says, I just want you to know I know what I'm doing.
yes.
I know exactly what I'm doing. And it's nobody's fault. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not, that's why it's such a beautiful piece. It's
Yeah.
like, this is why, and goodbye. Oh man,
It's a plea for
fuck.
understanding. It's a plea for understanding. Just
Yeah. I guess
put the effort
I
in.
would, man, but I would even call it a plea.
Well, you're
She's
right.
so calm.
Yeah.
It's so there's almost I can't imagine how she wrote that, because there's, for me, very little emotion. It's almost like, all right, I'm out. Here's why. Here's why. Here's why. It. I don't think she wants anything from anyone. You know, I mean, talk about a great writer.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, this is what's happening. I try to do that in my writing, is bleed the emotion out
Right.
so that the thought hits.
Right.
And
Yeah.
oh man, I mean, that fuck.
For me,
When you first talked
yeah.
to me, whatever, about putting those two pieces together, dude, I was like, I can't I can't be next to Sarah Kane.
I think it works
Thank you for
perfectly.
putting me first, at least on the opening act,
Oh, I think it
because
works perfectly. It works perfectly. I think
it
that
really does. It
it
really
does.
does.
And I've seen it night after night now that people understand psychosis, I think, better having gone through the event first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can see that now.
Yeah.
That was our problem with the event and with a bunch of our shows. The problem was when we wanted to tour them in the UK. So the event is like 60 minutes, 65.
Yeah.
You need a 2 hour show in the UK to tour, because they make their money at the bar.
Right. Right.
If you don't have an intermission, it's not going to work. So
Right.
I had the event, huge hit. Critics loved it. Everybody, blah, blah. But it didn't tour. It didn't tour because there was no intermission. And people would say, you got to pair it with something.
Hmm.
And I was like, I got nothing. The
Well, now
fuck.
here you go. Try this. Try this pairing. Bring it to the UK.
I like it.
This is our second production of her work too. Just like it's our second production of yours,
Oh
actually.
yeah, no, you said you wanted to do all of her work.
We do. Yeah, we want to do all of them. We did Blasted in 2021. And that was a very
Wow.
difficult, challenging experience as well. Um, and I think a misunderstood piece. I think all of her work is misunderstood, but
Oh,
is
of course, of course.
Blasted is it's an argument for mercy. It's an
Yeah,
argument for grace
I
and
agree.
passion. And I actually had someone tell me who came to see it the next summer. He said, "Here, I enjoyed that show, but the last scene, you don't need that at all. That should be cut out." And I said, "But that's the point. The last scene is the
That's the
entire
point.
point. What do you want? Just misery porn? Like if you don't have that last scene, you're missing the point of this play." I was
That's the
flabbergasted.
whole thing. That's the whole thing, man.
Yeah,
No, she is. I hope that if our world survives another 50, 70 years, that she will be recognized. Um, because yeah, she the hardest, I mean, she really saw the world and wrote it down. I
mhm,
mean, great. It's like,
yeah.
uh
It-
and then the other side
uh,
of it, of course, is I wish somehow drugs, something that she was still with us
yeah.
because what she could do now.
Oh God, she was still
How
in her 20s.
how young did she die? She was like 30s, right?
She was 29, I think.
Ugh.
Yeah. Like she was still
Well,
in
so
her 20s. But that, if she
imagine,
was 60, could have created all sorts of amazing things.
imagine, man. It's like it's one of those awful could have beens, but nah,
Yeah. On a
yeah.
happy note, I wanted to ask you too, why hasn't the event been published?
I don't know. It's been published in Germany.
Oh, it has.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a big hit in Germany, in the German language. Um, yeah, it I think it's in production now. It's one of my evergreens. But in America, I don't know. Samuel French published Fat Boy.
Yeah.
I've been published in other things, but I don't know, man. The thing about me is I'm very lazy. So I should like be pushing this. I should be asking that question. Hey, man, why aren't I published? But
I mean,
I don't
from
give.
my perspective, it's one of the best scripts I've ever read, and
Oh,
there are certainly for for every script of the quality of the event, there are at least 1,000 scripts of much lesser quality published,
that
and
are published. That are published. I know.
it baffles me.
I know. I think another answer to your question is I need an assistant. I need someone to watch me, follow me, and you know, do my business for me because I'm just
Yeah,
I don't have a good answer to that question.
not everyone has that, right? Like I think, and it's often expected that we're going to have this diverse array of skills, which will include the creation, include all these other things, it'll include all the different social skills we need, it'll include
Exactly.
educational
Exactly.
skills and accounting skills. But who has all of those? Nobody has all.
No one. Very, very lucky people. Very
Yeah, I
lucky.
guess so. There must be so few fortunates in the world. But you
Yeah.
know what? They must be dull. I don't know.
Well, probably. Probably. All right. I'm getting a high sign from the priest that I
Oh,
have to leave the church.
oh,
So
can I ask you very quickly?
are there yeah, give me any like actual questions.
Yes, before you go, what can you tell me about Monster, this project that you just finished working on?
Um man, I think it is going to be the best thing I've ever done. I think um we did it. It's available if you go on my Facebook page. You can find a video of it.
Okay.
Um, it's a Frankenstein piece. That's what it's called, and I think it might become the best thing I've ever written. It's really it was a man. It was a throw of the dice. The script was insane. Um, but I challenged my uh co-creators, the actors, the designers, to make it better. In the sense, in the true sense of the Frankenstein thing, I was like, let's stitch together all of our ideas, all of our impulses.
Yeah.
We're gonna make a monster. we're going to make a monster. So it's not John Clancy writing a play that Melanie Stewart directs that you guys design. Let's forget about that hierarchy. Let's make a monster. Um, and man, they did. I watched it. I saw it 4 times last week, and it was like, whoa, this is fucking nuts. Also, this is nothing like I wrote, right? It was kind of like you actually took my challenge. It was crazy as a fuck, but we did it. So now what's fun is like, okay, now we got it.
Yeah.
Now it's back to me. Now I can take all the crazy shit you guys did and write it down.
Yeah. Oh.
Read like blueprint your madness into. So I think this thing could be pretty fucking crazy. The response, like you talking about the responses you get from the event, the responses I got were like, well, I've never been actually scared in the theater
Oh, that's
before.
awesome.
Yeah, I was like, really? We fucking frightened you? Yeah, I didn't know what the fuck. A lot of the responses were exactly that. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I just saw, but in a good way.
I love that. That's one of my favorite responses to get. I don't know what happened to me. I don't know what I just saw. I don't know what it means, but
Exactly.
that's what someone else
Exactly.
about it. They said, I don't know what
No,
this means, I think it was, but I love it. Something like that.
I love it. No, I remember you said something about that. Some people from Fat Boy, your production, those are the responses were like, well, I don't know what the fuck. I just so much better than good show.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Great
Exactly.
job.
Yeah.
Nice.
That means it's gonna live in them somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They're gonna be bothered by it years from now.
exactly. I hope it haunts them for decades. Well, I hope that when you're done your revisions, you'll let us read it because I'm excited about this new one,
Oh,
Monster.
it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It doesn't make any sense on the page, but I guess that's my challenge. That's my job.
Well, go find the
But
video
hey,
and
man,
we'll watch it. Thank you so much, John. We'll talk to you soon.